All right, guys. Looks like we are live, y'all. Today we're going to be watching a video on Tim Dillon and Alex Jones, which, if you know Alex Jones, you know it ought to be it ought to be pretty interesting. But and Tim Dillon's funny as hell. If you don't know who Tim Dillon is, you should check out some of his stand-up and stuff. He's pretty funny. But at any rate, guys, let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Make sure we got everything set up. Think we're as good as we're going to be. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Let's get started.
Alex Jones with us, legendary broadcaster, friend of the show. I've been lucky enough to speak to him about a lot of the crazy shit that has gone on the past 10 years. And, we'll just come right out with it. We want to get your read on what is going on because, from the outside, the Trump administration campaigns on exposing this cover-up, blowing the lid off this cover-up. And then they get in office, and now it seems like they're part of this cover-up. So what, in your estimation, has happened?
Well, all I can do is observe from the outside. I have a lot of sources and some inside baseball on what's happening, but the fact
Jesus
I know is this.
Christ. Like, his voice is so fucked up. He's probably going to end up with throat cancer. He still smokes, don't he? His voice is just so messed up.
15 days ago, they leaked to Axios, the Justice Department, this. Epstein didn't get murdered, and there wasn't human trafficking, and there wasn't any blackmail, and case closed. And that flies in the face of the court cases, the evidence, the intelligence connections, everything we know. And then I came out on that Monday, 14 days ago, and I said, this isn't Pam Bondi. And I'm not defending her. I agree. She's in over her head, like you said. She should go back to policing jet skis in Florida. But then he comes out the next day and says on True Social, no, we need the FBI to move on. I told him to do this. And the next day in a press conference, he chews out the reporter when they're talking about all these issues, saying, how dare you desecrate the graves of dead kids in Texas with the floods? Shut up. And it's uncharacteristic for Trump. He looks scared. He looks concerned. And then all the other Truth Social posts about if you ask questions, you're with the Democrats, and this is all a Democrat made-up hoax, and you're just idiots. When all his surrogates is...
Hey, guys, I voted for Trump. Is he guilty? I mean, it's kind of funny that, he said if he got in, he was going to release the Epstein files. But as soon as he gets in, now all of a sudden they don't want to release the files, man. This shit don't look good.
It promised they'd bring this out. He talked about bringing it out. So this is Harry Carey. This is seppuku. For those that don't know, in Japanese, that means suicide. And I had the head of Rasmussen Polling on, the best polling agency, the most accurate on record today. He said Trump has lost 14 points with independents, 5 points with his main base. Like Steve Bannon said a week ago, that'll lose him before Rasmussen reported it. His dead reckoning was right. 40 seats probably in the midterms in a year and a half. This is Trump self-harming. And from all my research, he knew Epstein, there were socialites, all that, but they would have already used this, the deep state. They had something. The Jane Does they brought out turned out weren't even real people. They'd said that Melania was a hooker, that Epstein introduced to her at a modeling agency. We looked into that.
Okay. Let's be real, guys. Every woman's a hooker to a certain degree. That's going to piss a lot of women off, but they're all hookers. If they're not on the street corner trying to make money, they're trying to marry a dude who's got a lot of money. And there's man whores too. They look for rich women. It goes both ways.
Trump's modeling agency, that wasn't true. So they're kind of regurgitating all that on one hand. So why did Trump act so panicked, deer in the headlights, and come out and say, there is no list. Okay, there is a list, but you're still an idiot if you look at it. To, okay, we'll have Pam Bondi release the grand jury transcripts from Ghislaine Maxwell that Comey's daughter ran the cover up on, and the Epstein case 6 years ago where he died in jail. So you couldn't do a bigger Streisand effect. You couldn't come out and say, I'm more guilty than what he did. And my loyalty is to the truth. I'm actually autistic about it. I can't, even if I want Trump to succeed and Democrats are my sworn enemy trying to put me in prison, I'm just like having to report this, that this is beyond insane.
Yeah.
And it's like Trump blowing his feet off with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Well, we know that this was not only a blackmail operation, but it was also a money laundering operation. And we know that Jeffrey Epstein was working for billionaires like Les Wexner and many others. And we know that there's been a lot of talk about the connections that Epstein had to intelligence and moving money around the world, making sums of money disappear. Is it a complete coincidence that a lot of this seemed to happen around the time that Benjamin Netanyahu paid a visit to the White House?
Well, as usual, Tim Dillon, you're very informed, not just a comedian, and you've nailed it. I don't want to attack Israel. I'm not a big Israel hater, but Netanyahu is, in my view, the villain of the last 25 years in Israel, in and out of power. It definitely is the cliche of Israel trying to manipulate the United States internal politics and foreign policy, particularly in the Middle East. So definitely Netanyahu's heavily involved in. Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of human trafficking, though the new memos, and Trump says there is none of that. Well, then how is she convicted? Her dad, Robert Maxwell, was on record Mossad, buried Mount of Olives with military honors and MI6 and Russian intelligence reportedly, fell off his yacht when all this came out. And just like when he died decades ago, all of a sudden billions of dollars was sucked out of his bank accounts. And so from my evidence and research, it's pretty conclusive. Epstein was a junior to Ghislaine, who took over the family MI6, CIA, Mossad business, because that level, they're all interconnecting. And it was more than just trafficking underage girls. That was kind of like a side hors d'oeuvre or little like rider. The larger issue was money laundering. And then now the Democrats have honed in on this. I said months ago and weeks ago that, Trump needs to not just call for the grand jury stuff to be released or the stuff from her trial or the trial that ever happened because Epstein died in custody there in New York in that detention center.
Yeah, they killed him.
We should demand the billions. It was 1.1 billion right after he died, but it was actually over $1 billion when he was in custody 5.5 years ago in New York that was sucked out of his business account. And so we know that's at the Treasury Department. So now Senator Wyden and others, as I predicted a month ago and 2 weeks ago, before this broke, I said Trump should release it because I could see that's where it's going. Where did the billions of dollars go right before and right after he died? And so I agree with you, very astute. I was going to make that point. This isn't even so much about human trafficking as it is about the money laundering that was going on. And then you've got Bill Barr, whose dad, Donald Barr, ran the school that Epstein at 20 got hired with no credentials to be the top math teacher. And then Barr was OSS CIA, his dad, Donald Barr. Then Barr was CIA, kind of the head of Iran-Contra operations, the White House. And then his dad, Donald Barr, writes a book about space relations, about aliens on a planet that kidnap human girls to rape them. And then they train humans to enjoy it and join them in the raping of children. This is beyond crazy. And he hires Epstein to do all this. And so... yeah, Trump had beauty pageants, and Trump had casinos, and Trump had golf courses, and Trump, was involved in sporting events. And so I thought, well, if they ever had anything on Trump, they would have brought it out as they tried with a bunch of nothing burgers in 2016 and 2020.
Yeah, with the
but now that he acted like this, I think the jury's out. But where the jury is not out is on the majority of people on the plane, on the flight logs, are Democrats, are big power brokers like Bill Gates, and we know some people in the Trump.
Dude, with the Monica Lewinsky thing, dude, Bill Gates was on that thing. Bill Gates was on that plane. He had to have been.
Administration have been heavily implicated. I'm not going to name names. And so, but you nailed it when you brought up Netanyahu. So let me, if you've got time here.
We have all the time in the world. I just want to add, when Bondi said we have 10,000 hours of video, she said we have 10,000 hours of video. I had dinner last week with the vice president. He told me that was commercial pornography. They do not have videos of any powerful person in a compromising position.
Yeah, I think
that's
bullshit.
The party line that they're going with.
Okay, well, that answers.
If that's the case, why would Pam Bondi call it evidence? Why would she say it's evidence? She's not an idiot. She's the attorney general. Why would she say she has files on her desk if none of these implicated anybody? It just feels like they're covering something for sure.
Yeah,
100%. And I feel like they're telling a story, and the story doesn't make any sense.
Perfectly said. So, again, there's so much data.
He's going to end up with lung cancer.
We'll go as long as you need. Here's what I'm trying to say.
Especially with the way his voice sounds.
There are two main tracks here. Okay, incompetence by Bondi and Patel and Bongino, or a mix of that, or pure cover-up. But undoubtedly, there's a cover-up. So here's what we know from the timeline. And I'm not trying to gonzo journalism, write myself into the story. I just do this 7 days a week. So I broke most of the different developments that happened in the last 6 months. So here's what we know, and you give me your conclusion. Trump surrogates say they're going to release it. They get in. In March, they're given this old Epstein information at that press conference with the stupid binders.
They were going to release it, and they never did.
And a day and a half before that happens, I have O'Boyle, who is the main, one of the top FBI whistleblowers exposed so much. And he says, my New York sources say they've got massive Epstein videos and files that the Democrats are suppressing and not giving to Trump. And Bondi's been set up. We're meeting with her tonight, my sources are, and she's going to expose the fact that she's been set up. The next day, she comes out and on the cover sheet of the binder says, this is phase one. I learned there's a lot more in New York with Comey's daughter and Comey running it, which we know control the file the whole time. If they don't give it to us in 24 hours, we're going to go grab it. 24 hours goes by. They go grab it. The head of the FBI in New York resigns. The guy that said, dig in, don't do it. And then they're given these files. But that's the setup. Obviously, if the Democrats, before Trump and after Trump and now, controlled the file, and James Comey and Maureen Comey controlled it, are they going to leave stuff in that's incriminating? No, it's logical to say they're going to probably drop a dime on themselves. Not that my whistleblower was bad. They're going to drop a dime. Oh, we've really got the real file. So Trump's like, yeah, go get it, grab it, get them. They get the file, and then I talked to FBI sources, multiple ones, Carl Serif and others, showed me the text messages. This is in late March, days after. That indeed, the way the FBI works, the top of the FBI doesn't do investigations. They get the truckloads out of New York. They send it all over the country to field offices and say, do what you want. Then the FBI, we confirm this, looks at it. It's got all this stuff about Trump in it, whether it's true or not. Bondi and them come back and say to Trump, it's got all this about you. Then you see the deer in the headlights interview 2 months ago with Bongino and Kash Patel on Fox, where they look like they're hostages. They're like, no, you can trust us. He killed himself, and Epstein acted alone and didn't do anything, and case closed. And I said this before Trump said it a week and a half ago. I said, Trump has learned, or this is a...
Hey, let's get this out of the way. We know Democrats and Republicans were on that plane. We know both sides were on that plane. How many and who? Who knows? Maybe if we got a list and it gets released. But it's not like it was just either all Republicans or all Democrats. Man, there's people from both sides on that freaking plane.
Big possibility. They've spiked it with poison pills. They're not just going to take out bad stuff about them. They're going to add all the innuendo, all the Jane Does, all the stuff recycled in. Then Trump comes out through social last Saturday, 9 days ago, Saturday before last, and says, hey, they control the file. Not saying Epstein doesn't exist or wasn't bad. That's how the media spun it. He says they put a bunch of bull in there, which I was even able to predict. So that's one track of what it is and why he acted so scared and hysterical. The other track is He was a big playboy. He was hanging out with Epstein. He was running beauty pageants. Maybe he did some stuff he wasn't supposed to.
Sure.
And he had some and now they're bringing it out. So now the jury's out on Trump. Now he's got to be suspect. But the same people that run Crossfire Hurricane, the fake Russiagate, Obama, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, that did.
And you guys might think that Alex Jones is crazy, man, but if you do some research, a lot of this shit, everybody said he was crazy, but a lot of the stuff he was saying a lot of stuff well before stuff happened, and they were calling him crazy for it. And then eventually it came out, and he was proven right. You know, everybody thinks he's crazy, but he's 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 insane to a certain degree. But a lot of the stuff he says, I'd say 95% of it is true. It might sound crazy, but then when it always ends up coming out maybe months or sometimes even years later.
All this, who are known fake frauds, who are known to be all over the Epstein file, who are known controlling it on the U.S. side. Anything they tell me suspect, so I don't believe it right away. Then you bring up Netanyahu, and that's the key. So anytime Mossad is going to operate like this on domestic soil, they're going to need a CIA agreement and pass. This goes on for decades. And then you've got Maxwell's dad that was MI6, Mossad on record, and KGB, triple agent, highest level. The real agents are triple level or quadruple level. So you have Trump, grab it, do it. He gets it. Oh, my God, I've been set up. Then he's mad at Netanyahu. And from behind-the-scenes sources, we're not attacking Iran months ago. Netanyahu shows up. Suddenly, Trump 180s, starts doing whatever Netanyahu wants. And we know who has the full file of all the hidden cameras and all the stuff at Little Island in
Pedophile Island?
There in the Caribbean, at his facility in Zorro Ranch, New Mexico, in New York. And we had Ehud Barak there photographed dozens of times, in 30-something meetings there in New York. As all of a sudden you get a 180, as soon as Netanyahu shows up, now Trump learns what's in the FBI file. Right after that, then Netanyahu comes and tells him, and I don't believe from my sources, and this is high-level FBI, that it is Trump, but it's people in his...
All right, guys, I hate to say this, but I really think Trump was so gung-ho that if he got elected, they were going to release the names of who was on that island or on the files or whatever. And ever since he's got in, it's been 180. And Alex is right, man. He's been a big supporter of Trump, man. But he's like, something's not right, man, because he's kind of doing a 180. So something, I don't know, man. Our boy Trump might be in trouble.
His administration, including a top financial advisor that's heavily involved. Trump wants to get his agenda through of jobs, $15 trillion of investment coming in, $3 trillion already here. He wants to stop World War III. I'm not defending this. I'm saying the thinking, I've been told.
Yeah.
And so he goes, oh, my God, this is a giant new Russiagate setup. He comes out and says to my list, to his supporters.
Would I be crazy when you say a top financial advisor? Are we talking about Epstein's neighbor?
Epstein's neighbor?
We are.
Okay, interesting, and that makes sense.
So which shows how informed you are, and I'm not trying to be a mean person.
Yeah.
Because he may even be innocent. We were talking about Lutnick.
That's right, Howard Lutnick. Don't sue me. Kidding.
Who's that guy?
Well, it's beyond suing. This is like...
Yeah.
They're
going to find me in the pool. Yeah, you're right.
Beyond suing.
No, let's just say, you brought it out. You're smart to figure it out. Nobody else was. I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
They're blackmailing him with Lutnick. I've confirmed that from the FBI. And it's not that Lutnick did anything wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And,
Zivra.
Here's my question.
Hey, look, Zivra, I'm not going to lie. I voted for Trump, okay? I did. But, shit, man. Yeah, I had to pick the lesser of the two evils, though. I mean, freaking Biden, he was freaking stumbling. He couldn't even complete a sentence. So I was just trying to pick the one that was going to do the least damage. But I think Trump is going to, man, I think he's going to get screwed somehow on this one. He's going to get fucked on this one.
We have Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in a jail. I believe in Tallahassee in Florida. We have Alex Acosta, who supposedly there was an unsourced or privately sourced, unnamed sourced person that Vicky Ward quoted saying Alex Acosta said, I was told to stand down. Epstein belonged to intelligence. That is why he was not prosecuted.
Yeah, that was the federal prosecutor. The
right, to the fullest extent of the law. Why do we not, and by we I mean the Trump administration, the American people, demand that Maxwell testifies in front of Congress and that Alexander Acosta testifies in front of Congress
they don't
about whatever this operation was. I think me and you have a good idea about what it was. But it's a violent.
What do you think, guys? Do you think they should have Maxwell testify in front of Congress? And even if she did testify in front of Congress, I don't even know that they would let her say what she really wants to say. They'll probably like coax her beforehand. You can't say this. You can't say this. Can't talk about this. I don't know if I'd believe it, man. I just don't.
Operation. It destroyed the lives of children. No civilized society can exist ignoring things like this. And it also opens up many questions about a financial system that we barely understand that involves oligarchs, criminals, human traffickers, drug smugglers, and our own political class, by the way. This is why Nancy Pelosi has been so quiet about this. Let's be very honest, because she has no problem with, obviously making lots and lots of money. And lots of our politicians, I mean, Barack Obama, these 30 million.
Yeah, somebody explained to me how Nancy Pelosi is winning. She, from what I understand, when she went into Congress, she only had like 100,000, 180,000. Now she's got like hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, come on. It's not just her, man. It's all the politicians, man. They all go in making 180K a year, but they walk out with millions.
$1 million homes in Martha's Vineyard or whatever they are. Why don't we demand that they testify, Alex?
Well, and, Tim, I don't do this when regular people interview me. I'm not kissing your ass. I was about to go, before you said Ghislaine Maxwell testify,
Zivra,
I was about to go to this.
They're all correct.
So that's where I was going next.
Yeah.
Here's the issue with that. She's in prison for human trafficking, and you've got these lawyers connected to Epstein saying months ago, Alan Dershowitz, Trump better.
Hey, Ziv, it should be illegal, but it's not. It's crazy. I mean, shit. If you're going to do that, then give us the numbers too. We all want to be fucking playing too. Let's play the lotto together. Damn.
Pardon her. And even before Elon came out and said, hey, Trump's on the list, you're never going to see it, which then has a lot more credibility now because of this. It doesn't mean Trump did anything wrong, but he's implicated. He's embarrassed by it. The issue with Ghislaine Maxwell is she's in prison for decades. So you can't trust somebody to testify who has already not implicated other people, but now that she's convicted in prison, maybe she'll say that I was involved. I'm being sarcastic, but
right.
My point is that pressure mounts for Ghislaine Maxwell to be released to testify before Congress. I am of the thought that full disclosure is the way to go.
Yeah.
From all my research and sources, Trump wasn't actually involved in any of this. And they're going to be able to continue to blackmail if they don't. So I think justice be done by the heavens fall. But the thinking is, if they...
Hey, things are bad, though, when freaking Alex Jones, who was backing Trump 100%, is coming out and saying, yeah, man, Trump is like, he's fucking shooting himself in the foot.
Implicate all these big tech titans like Bill Gates that was heavily involved in all this, and his wife left him over it and said he should have to answer those questions. I'm not saying what he did.
They're all corrupt.
If all these Silicon Valley people come out and things, Trump's being told this will crash the stock market, this will bring down America, this is a setup, and I'm not defending that decision, but I can logically, from a sick position, get it. I agree with you. I think the world will think we're back in business if we actually exercise all this. these demons, because this stuff's going on all over the place as well. The EU's been caught in giant pedophile rings of government.
This is driving people insane, and I think it's justifiably so that people at the highest levels can get away with stuff like this, and that it can be covered up forever.
They get away with shit.
And I think a lot of people...
It's the two-tier justice system. Right. It's emblematic of everything.
Yeah, it's emblematic of everything. What I told Vance, I said, if you don't disclose everything, you're done. Nobody will support you guys. You are fully and completely part of this cover-up if everything doesn't come out. I think it paralyzes their presidency completely.
And what did Vance say?
He agrees with me. He agrees with me. It really is.
Yeah, even Mike Johnson came out a week ago and said release it.
He agrees with me. The calls are coming from inside the house. We know that Benjamin Netanyahu shows up. We then immediately see an about face, which is completely crazy, by the President of the United States. And again, I'm not a paranoid Israel hater, but their activity over the last 6 months is completely insane. They're bombing churches. They're starving people. They're shooting people that are...
They bomb.
Look, okay, let's be realistic, guys. Look, what happened to Israel? They went in there and slaughtered those people. That was wrong. They shouldn't have done that, okay? I get that. Israel would have had to respond. If I was in the same position, I would have responded, right? But I think Israel has went way overboard now. I think they went a little too far. They're starving. They're starving people. Yeah, they've been doing that every day. You're right. But they've been starving people. They've been bombing civilian homes, churches, like they said. I think Israel's went too far. They needed to respond. I would have responded. But I think they've taken it a little too far. I don't know what the right answer is. I really don't.
They bombed Syria today. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I've studied who the main threats to U.S. Communist China, big financial interest. I'm the guy that everybody said was defending Israel. No, I was just saying they're not the most important bloc. They're varied. But yeah, absolutely. Because we've knocked out the Democrats to a great extent, because they've cut off the U.S. aid money and the deep state money, Israel, with Netanyahu, sees a power vacuum and is definitely trying a hostile takeover of the administration. So that's 100% going on.
Are you worried about these connections with Palantir, with using technology to Palantir technology to merge all of the different departments, so that if you have information on you with the IRS, that's now merging with your arrest record, and if you've attended a protest and whatever the case may be. We see in the UK people are getting sent to jail for tweets. We see all over the world, and we know, of course,
they're throwing people in jail for tweets in the UK. Really? Holy shit!
The Chinese social credit score system. This feels a lot like a precursor to that. Steve Bannon has said that he thinks that these tech people are the biggest threat to the stability of the United States going forward, because they have their own agendas that they're cloaking in this MAGA movement. Do you share that view? And do you think that Trump has allowed these people to get a little too close and exercise a little too much power in the White House?
Yes, I think Palantir is a threat. And then I've been criticized by people that just want to try to make scores by being nuanced about it. Let's explain what's happening.
Yeah, explain.
Oracle, who's also in with Trump, which is a bigger threat than Larry Ellison's, way bigger than Palantir. Microsoft and Amazon. People think of Amazon as packages. No, Amazon runs more servers for the CIA, the NSA than anybody. Then that Microsoft is second. This is like a fact. People can look this up. They've already integrated all the databases. They already have all that. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, who said, Alex Karp, I help the EU censor conservatives. My main threat is Christian conservatives, just like talk about starting to fight. So I'm not an apologist for Palantir, but to my listeners, I've got to give them a real answer. So you notice the New York Times, the Washington Post last year were all about Palantir, and it doesn't mean Palantir isn't an issue. It's that, why does everybody know about that? Because the corporate media started it. So Palantir has come to Trump and is a big backer of Vance. I'm not saying he's.
Hey, Ziv, I can understand that. 100%. I used to be that way too. Like, he seemed like he was fucking crazy. But I've been on this journey where I've been like trying to listen to like both sides instead of just one. And I found that a lot of some of the shit that he was saying that was crazy that people were calling him crazy for turned out to be true sometimes months, maybe even years down the road. Um, but it never really got talked about. I'm not saying everything he says is true. I really don't. But I know he was a big supporter of Trump. And the fact that if you got him on the rails about Trump, you know something's wrong. Something's big wrong.
He's bad either.
Right.
And they have said to Trump, we know how to come in and tell you what's really going on. Let us have the ring of Mordor, and we will fix all your problems. And my point is, they are a small little tech who wants to come in and has the technology to do what's already been done.
Right.
So the idea that this isn't already integrated, that it is Amazon, Google, and these other
all the big tech people
groups,
basically.
Amazon,
Alphabet, those companies, whatever it is, Meta.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Alphabet's above Google, exactly.
Right.
So it's Google, it's
Amazon.
it's Amazon, it's all. Yeah. So they're the ones that are currently doing it. It's not like it's coming. So I just told people in their lexicon, it's like you have flashcards for a kid. Here's a tiger. Here's a bear. Here's a bunny rabbit. And now they go, here's Palantir. Ooh, that's the big tech takeover. No, that's a group that thought with their angles with Trump, they could come in and be put in charge of the thing that's already there. So I'm telling people, no, it's not that it's coming. It's already there. Palantir is just as dangerous as Google or as its parent company, Alphabet, or as Microsoft, or as Amazon. It's Microsoft, Google, Amazon. And I'm saying, if you look at the statistics, they're 90% of it. The grid's already there. Palantir is a usurper, an upstart, a pretender to the throne, trying to come in to give Trump control because the U.S. government's been directing the Googles and the Microsofts and the Amazons to already create a fuse system that we already have. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. The reason that Palantir is always a red flag for me is that when Peter Thiel's asked things like, should the human race exist? And he kind of stutters and stammers and doesn't really seem to have
the human race exist?
That one seems easy. And he doesn't really have an answer for that. He's also suggested things like maybe people went to Epstein's Island because they wanted Epstein's like advice on their divorce and stuff. It just
and he also says, we need to do what I'm doing to stop the Antichrist.
Hey guys, I just went to Epstein's Island just so I could find out, get some friendly advice on my divorce, y'all. There just happened to be a bunch of young girls there. It was very coincidental, guys.
Right. So it just feels to me that yes, they are part of a very large group of companies I don't trust. But it is worth noting that this company is, they want to start helping to surveil Americans more than they already are. I mean, that's sort of, or help, concentrate the information or help merge.
Let's be clear. You hit a key point. Google 6-7 years ago wouldn't even give the Pentagon access to AI, but they give China that. So that's the key you just hit. Palantir is offering to Trump, look at Denver, already has U.S. funded license plate scanners.
Right.
But a month ago, when they were going to use them to arrest illegals, they turned it off.
Yeah.
Okay. So Palantir is offering to use the grid that's already in place for Trump's aims. So what I'm trying to say is it's not a defense of Palantir. It's that we're saying we're in the year 2025. Yeah. We're in the year 2050. I'm saying it's already there. The Palantir thing is a fight about Trump coming and saying, okay, I'll hire you to explain how this works and give me access. I'm saying it's already all there.
No, and I understand that. And I think that I don't trust Elon Musk. I don't trust anything. I don't trust Sam Altman. I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg. It's not because I believe they're inherently evil people, or although they say some things that are inherently evil. I believe their agendas are radically different than if you took an American off the street and said, what are the things you value? Very few of them are.
Look, guys, let's be honest. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, Facebook, Google, all the big names, they control the information. I mean, they control the online information. They can let whatever go through what they want to go through. I mean, they're the arbiters of information just about online, if you think about it. I mean, that's almost kind of nuts. You know, whether you're Republican or Democrat, don't matter. I mean, if they're censoring information either side, that's fucked up.
Are going to go, we want to terraform Mars and merge with AI and destroy the human race and all of this stuff. So I do think that the tech community, it's important to have a thriving tech community, but it's important to not turn our country into a digital police state or a Chinese-style surveillance state. And I think a lot of those people would probably want to create something like that in our society. You know, that does seem like they would prefer
everybody
that.
wants to control information. Everybody wants power.
Absolutely. I want your viewers and listeners to understand something. Let's just say Palantir is the most evil thing on earth ever seen. It is the devil. Why do we all know about Palantir
and not the other
but we
ones?
don't know?
Yes, you're right.
We don't know about Microsoft, Google, and Amazon that are 90+% of the grid that's already there.
Right.
So we're all learning about surveillance and AI and social credit score and biometrics and social credit. We're already doing it. They're just bidding to get into the trough as a junior. And so I oppose what Palantir's doing.
And everyone else.
I oppose everyone else.
Of course.
I'm just saying it's become a distraction into only them.
Understood.
He's going to end up with fucking
disclosure. Your sources, people that you know. How damaging is this? If this all comes out, do we think that this is a watershed moment for the United States and, Israel? Does this come out that this is what many people feel it is, which is a Mossad CIA blackmail up? Or is this basically not, we're never going to definitively know that? Or will we, we have a lot of conjecture. We have a lot, and gun to my head, that's what I believe it was. There's enough evidence in my book to say that's what it was. But is the disclosure, not only will it be embarrassing to people, but is it going to suggest that one of our allies has been using these types of methods to gain leverage and control over our politicians? And is that one of the big reasons that they do not want it out?
Well, that's all true. I mean, look. Monica Lewinsky was a Mossad operative.
Really?
It's come out.
I didn't know that.
They were.
Look, guys, let's be honest. If Bill Clinton was messing with Monica Lewinsky, I'm sorry, but I'm sure if there is a list, I'm sure Bill Clinton is on that list somewhere. I don't know where. Trump's probably on it too, as far as I'm concerned. But I guarantee you Bill Clinton's on there somewhere. He's got to be.
Tap in the White House. So, and they don't want to hit us on some big corruption deal because a bunch of Israeli operatives are involved in all the corruption with our people as well.
Right.
They want to hit you on some limited little sexual thing. And absolutely, Epstein was mainly a Mossad operative. Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad, all Mossad on record. The media just keeps this debate going, is it Mossad, is it Mossad? Well, he wasn't officially Mossad. Any real operative at the highest level is an operative. People think it was an operative at lower level. No, a lot of times they're the boss. But he himself was just a manager. Ghislaine was the case manager. This has all basically come out. And this is the leverage that Israel is using over Trump right now to do all this. And my information is it's not Trump himself. He's just all this other stuff to try to embarrass him, beauty pageants, flying twice on his plane from New York to Palm Beach. And again, Trump was all release it till he got that meeting with Netanyahu that you nailed. But what's more important is this is
Okay, that's crazy. So Trump was, what's the correlation with that? So he was all, gung ho before he got elected. I'm going to release the files or I'm going to release the list or whatever. And then, according to Alex Jones here, he's saying they had to meet. He had a meeting with Netanyahu, and then shortly after that, now all of a sudden the thing has changed. What caused it? What caused it to change? Why all of a sudden does he not want that list out, or if there even is a list, or if this thing is just manufactured? I don't know. But what's the change up? Why all of a sudden are they scared, or is he scared?
Captured the public's understanding and imagination. And so it's all about integrity. It's all about getting rid of the deep state, and Trump joining with it and defending it. I had on my show today Mark Mitchell, who is the hands down, they have the best record nailing elections, not just here but around the world, from Rasmussen polling. And, he said, I'm not a Republican or Democrat, but I care about the voters and freedom in the future. And he said, again, the exact number, like 14 points lost with independents.
It's a collapse. It's a collapse.
It's a collapse. 5-6 points lost is most hardcore base.
Yeah.
You want customers from ads much
So basically, hold on. Let me skip this
cheaper and the scale much further? Our software Hyros will do that for you, or you don't pay for it.
This basically what he's saying is since Trump has been on TV, and you can see it in his eyes, like you could tell just in his mannerisms. Anytime he's asked about that list or about Epstein, now all of a sudden it's like he kind of like deflects from the conversation. And since then, his polling numbers have went down, even from his own base. That's crazy. His own base is like, yeah, dude, something ain't right.
This is a disaster. As Steve Bannon, without seeing polls a week and a half ago, said we'll lose 40 seats.
It's overshadowing another interesting and important story. That's that Comey, Brennan, Clapper, all these guys essentially participated in what was kind of an attempted coup with, manufacturing this evidence that Trump was in.
Okay. Now, this isn't a pro-Trump thing or anything, but they are finding evidence against Comey, Brennan for the dossier. That apparently, the Russian hoax on his first term, sure, that's probably going to be pretty legit because it had to be a hoax, otherwise they'd have nailed his ass for it. So there might be some indictments there, but I don't think Trump's off the hook with this Epstein thing, man. Something's up there.
Installed by Russia.
Yeah, Crossfire Hurricane. And that's the key. That was my whole show today was Crossfire Hurricane is proven. Crossfire Hurricane is confirmed that not just Obama giving orders to Clapper, Brennan, Comey. Before 2016, they knew Trump was running. They put him under surveillance. The documents are out. They created the Steele dossier. They didn't just let the intelligence out and then not report it was fake. They created it. As Tulsi Gabbard said last night on Fox. We already have the documents. That's true.
I think Obama is a CIA operative from birth. His mother worked for USAID. His mother was born in Hawaii. I mean, because Obama weirdly comes up all the time as this guy. And I always think these politicians are middlemen. And I imagine that Barack Obama would be like a similar politician, like a Clinton type, where like they know what's going on, but they're not driving it. Yeah.
Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton come out of the CIA and the Dixie Mafia and the Chicago Mafia. There's whole films made by Joel Gilbert, which I've researched. It's well known. Obama's grandfather was the head of the CIA in Hawaii. His mother was a CIA sex operative. His real father was not in Kenya, but was the head of the Communist Party, USA, head of their major newspapers, Frank Marshall Davis.
I'd have to do my
Where do you think he was born, if you had to take a guess?
He was born in Hawaii.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, it was Obama in 4 different videos when he was a senator saying, I was born in Kenya. I'm back at my home country as a fake cover story. And then that guy, that sub-Saharan Africa that looked nothing like him. You look at Frank Marshall Davis, it's him. And he wrote in Dreams of My Fathers, I spent summers with Frank Marshall Davis in Hawaii. He was friends with my grandfather. He felt like my real father. And it's Frank Marshall Davis. Then his mother, and Betty Davis.
Now when he gets to shit like this,
what's that woman?
This is when I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. I really don't.
The famous bombshell 50s.
Rita Hayworth?
No, it's the one that did soft porn. It'll pop in my head in a minute.
Okay.
The point is they did that style, and in the famous porn that Frank Marshall Davis released, in the same house that's in photos of Obama with the same couch, with the same pictures, with his mom and Frank Marshall Davis visiting Frank Marshall Davis, it's her with women on the very same, Betty Page. It's the very same couch. And it's in famous private porn collections that his mother was, in all of this. Well, she was a famous CIA sex operative.
So you're saying that Obama is from an intelligence
CIA
family.
sex operative, huh?
Well, you said CIA.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, no, but that's what I feel as well. I mean, I
and then Frank Marshall Davis, the main publisher of communist newspapers world, all over the U.S., is a famous pornographer.
Right.
Obama says in Dreams of My Father's, he was like my father. I stayed with him in the summers. He was friends with my grandfather, and his dad's the famous CIA banker.
Well, I know people in Chicago that have said that Obama essentially had led kind of a secret double life his entire life, and they were shocked when he was polling so well in the election. Obviously, he was a brilliant politician, but that the media didn't go near any of his secret life the way they didn't go. There's a lot of people that obviously the media is told to stand down, but I know people in Chicago, these large financial institutions that knew him, that were shocked that more details about his private life weren't emerging.
Well, yeah, and he says every young boy, needs a gay man to help lead him now. And I'm not against gay people or anything, but it's well known how he's being controlled. And so you very astutely said a baby of the CIA. He is literally a Manchurian candidate.
People with secrets are seemingly the people that always lead us. It seems to be if you're in the closet, if you have a problem with your drugs or money or something like that, leverage is always being used on different people to control them.
Because you're compromised.
1,000%. So Trump, in my estimation, has to just let everything out, no matter how embarrassing it is.
Yeah, I mean, he does. And I mean, look, the Democrats are trying to put me in prison. They're openly horrible people. Trump represents a lot of good constituents. I don't want Trump to fail. I got accused by a lot of influencers and people in the last few weeks because I'm on every channel, and it does nothing for me to be on CNN, ABC News.
He might not want Trump to fail.
They have tiny audiences. I don't like to have to come tell the truth on air and have them spin it and use it against Trump and MAGA, because MAGA is great overall and is definitely a force for good. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Tom Homan, and I mean, they're doing amazing things. And so I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't do this because I can attack Trump, which I never do, and then, get publicity out of it. I did it because I have to keep my integrity. And I don't know if Trump can course correct
for at least doing that
from this. I had the head of Rasmussen polling on today. Some of it's bounced back, but you look at bombing Iran, you look at Israel, you look at Kennedy got it where they were going to take fluoride out of the water. The DOJ blocked the lawsuit that banned it to keep fluoride in the water. Kennedy blocked basically glyphosate. The Trump administration is keeping it. It's almost like the Trump admin brought in Kennedy so he can menace the chemical companies and Big Pharma, and then Big Pharma will just come make bigger donations. And I don't know.
I'm going to say something very interesting. I think obviously poisoned food in America needs to be dealt with, but Kennedy was talking a lot about these vaccines that were mandated and had a lot of adverse effects. Pam Bondi is now not following up the Pfizer thing that you maybe know more about than I do, but I saw that briefly.
Her and the White House chief of staff run now, only 10 years ago didn't exist, the biggest consulting firm, and their main client's Pfizer.
So Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles, who's the White House chief of staff, run a consulting firm, and their biggest client is Pfizer. Well, that's not great.
And even today, the lawyers came out, all the people.
Look, guys, I was stupid enough to get the Johnson & Johnson shot, okay? I got the Johnson & Johnson shot. But I've seen firsthand everybody that got the 2-shot versions, Moderna, Pfizer, everybody that got those are dead. My grandfather got the Moderna. He passed away like 6 months after his second shot. My grandmother's hairdresser, she got the Moderna. She got after her second shot, she passed away a month later. And there was another person I knew that got the Pfizer, and he died about a year later. But everybody I know that got the Moderna or the Pfizer shot, they're all fucking dead. I'm just glad I got the Johnson and I haven't got no boosters. Screw that shit. And I've had COVID like 4 times. That like the first one was bad. The first time I got COVID, I got pneumonia. But all the subsequent ones, it was just like having a cold. Except for one of them, I did lose my taste. That sucked. I knew I had lost my taste when I was drinking a soda or something, and all I could taste it was just bubbles. I couldn't even taste anything. It was crazy.
People involved, even in Congress, and said that Kennedy's not even being consulted now. So people get pissed at Kennedy. He's like, yeah, we're banning that mRNA shot. And then the White House somehow overrides it. And I'm not, it's
I think Kennedy, from people that I know, I think Kennedy feels like he's frustrated. I also think.
Well, here's the crazy thing. The guy that invented it, so the Johnson and Johnson shot was like based on the regular version of the way we used to do shots, right? The other two, the Moderna or the Moderna and Pfizer were based on mRNA. Now, the guy that invented mRNA said he came out publicly. He said this is not safe. He said it wasn't even FDA approved. He was still going. It was still like in trials and stuff like that. And he's like, no. He's like, this is not good. So that's why I seen that, when the guy that invented it comes out and tells you, I'm like, yeah, no thanks. That's why I waited for the Johnson and Johnson. But it's funny, after I got that shot, how quickly they shut the Johnson and Johnson one down and then we're pushing the Moderna and the Pfizer, which is nuts.
Yes, get the poison food out. But also, Kennedy was coming in there saying, listen, we had these mandatory vaccines. A lot of them had adverse health effects. And now that's not being talked about. Everything's about food dye. Now, by the way, get the food dye out, sure. But let's not indemnify companies like Pfizer and all these people going forward. I mean, big pharma's, it's the biggest.
Well, that's the big HHS, Dr. Robert Malone, inventor of mRNA that violently exposed it all. He came out today and said, no, I've seen the documents. The FDA and all of it authorized these new mRNAs. They literally didn't even consult Kennedy. And so I'm not giving Kennedy a pass. I mean, this is going on. So it's a big, giant operation. Susie Wiles gave him the organizational skills that Trump needed to win. So it's the devil you need, the devil you don't need. But who was she the chief of staff for in his last election? Where does she live part of the year? She works for Benjamin Netanyahu.
Susie? She works for Netanyahu.
She was his chief of staff and his campaign manager.
Interesting. I did not know that. That keeps coming up.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, yeah. I'm not anti-Israel.
No. And listen, we don't even have to keep saying that. We're not anti-Israel.
For it. I have responsibility.
You do.
Like a jack in the box at Netanyahu. Remember Netanyahu back during the COVID thing said, I want Israel to be the headquarters of human testing. We don't know what this is going to do. We offer the Israeli people to be guinea pigs to be tested on. Well, that violates the Nuremberg Code. So I'm not anti-Israel.
Crazy.
I'm saying,
of course,
you pull it up. Netanyahu says Israel's a guiney pig. And I think Netanyahu's a villain. I
have great friends in Israel and in America that are Jewish people that are religious. Some aren't, and a lot of them think what's going on in Gaza is atrocious, and that Netanyahu's a criminal and should stand trial. But it is interesting to see that this administration is starting to spin out of control. It feels like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it. The first 5 months or so,
something seems
it
off.
was like, almost perfectly on track for and then it just started going sideways, and now it's moving very quickly the wrong direction. And I have no interest in them failing. My God, the Democrats are literally trying to put me in prison and suing me and all this other. I mean, it's like my lifeboat I'm in is Trump, and then he's poking holes in the bottom of the boat. And then I don't want to be enemies with Susie Wiles. I don't want to be enemies.
Like I said,
I can
if you
tell you a
got
lot
Alex
more.
Jones
I mean,
on your
I had
side,
the White House call
he's
up and be like,
criticizing you, you know something's wrong.
last week, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you think I'm doing all this just to get something? I've never asked for anything. I want you to do what you were elected to do.
Yeah.
So it went from, you're bad, we're going to have our influencers attack you 2 weeks ago, to, what do you want?
Yeah. Well, they want it to go away. They want this to go away. And I've been listening to you since I'm 12 years old on the GCN network. I remember listening to you before 9/11, by the way, and then direct. Yeah, no, GCN network. We're talking like fucking 1999.
We're talking 8-bit internet.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
and I believe that was the network you were on, was GCN.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how long I've been listening to you, and that's why I bring you in when stuff like this happens, because I often get confused, because we all basically say to ourselves, what the hell's going on? It's almost like the gaslighting is so crazy, because it's like they start going like, who said Epstein was a blackmail operation? They're like, who said any of this? And you go, why would you suggest he's connected to the Mossad or anything? And you go, wait a minute, hold on. This has all been kind of decided. There's mountains of evidence. So to attack supporters or, people that are just raising questions, of course you're going to have to go out and say, hey guys, we know what you're doing. For whatever reason you want this to go away, it's not going to go away until you disclose the information you have.
Right.
And that's the problem. The CIA was involved, MI6 was involved, Mossad was the main group from all our evidence. And now that they've implicated people in Trump's circle, he's doubled down. He's totally pig-headed. It's a strength and a weakness. And so the polls show it from Rasmussen, and all the other polls show it. This is a death spiral, and it's so sad. And then you got the Democrats that are openly, with 350,000 kids smuggled across, a bunch of them in sex slavery, slave labor. You have Tom Homan, they've already saved 35,000 kids, prosecuted over 1,000 human traffickers. All this good's happening, and I don't want to see this happen. But the way this works, and I'm surmising this, I don't know if this is true, but if Trump makes a deal with the deep state to leave him alone on the Epstein thing, as implicates intelligence agencies, they go, okay, you got to have Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and all you go out and say there's nothing there. And this is what Kyle Seraphin, really smart FBI whistleblower, said months ago on my show. They're being given bad advice to go out and do stuff that discredits them by the very same people acting like they're on their side. So it looks like they made a deal to deep six this for whatever reason, and then the very same media and Democrats then turn on them and now hanging around their neck. And notice when the Democrats say they want Epstein declassified, they only want stuff with Trump in it. Now, I say release it all. Release it all.
Release it all is the only way.
Yeah, release it all.
And maybe depose Alex Acosta, and let's find out who told him that.
And that's the, again, U.S. attorney that prosecuted him 15 years ago that said he was told go easy, he's intelligence.
Yes, I mean, let's find out. And at the end of the day, I think that, I'm not naive. You're not naive. We know that there's serious players behind the scenes that are exerting pressure on all kinds of people. And I know that you can't wave a magic wand and make the deep state go away, and you can't, throw them all in jail overnight. But if there's no accountability for this type of criminal activity that everybody knows about, the lack of credibility is going to eat away at not only this administration, but at the government and the justice system in this country.
No, you're right. You're absolutely, you've hit the key here. And by the way, I can go as long as you want.
We're going to wrap up in a few minutes, yeah.
No, my bladder's about to bust. Can I just run pee and I'll come right back?
Go run pee and come back.
I'll just pee on air right now.
You can run and pee and I'll vamp while you're there. I'm good at it. I talk my whole show. I'm like you.
In Moscow.
I learned how to do this with you. I just talk. I don't even have guests.
No. But what I was going to say is, just like the made-up stuff Trump being peed on, that was all fake. So the other side, I have such no belief in the establishment media because they've lied so much. Back in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Go as long as you want. I got more stuff to add.
Go pee.
I just can't think.
I understand.
Can't think because he's
Alex Jones is taking a pee break, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time to tell you about Athletic Greens, the company that dropped me for talking about Alex Jones. I did one ad on my show about Athletic Greens many years ago, and we did it from Alex's studio, and they dropped me. So here's what I'd like to say about Athletic Greens. You know, one day my friend took Athletic Greens and he died. He put Athletic Greens in a water bottle and shook it up, and then he drank it, and now he's dead. Athletic Greens killed my friend. I don't know why it happened. Maybe it wasn't Athletic Greens. Maybe it was just some type of a random medical emergency. But I bet it was the greens. He was frothing at the mouth. He goes, "Oh no, what's happening?" And there was green stuff was coming out of his mouth. He was going, "I can't believe it. It's Athletic Greens. I'm dying. It's killing me. I knew it was fake." This is as he's dying. He goes, "I knew it was fake anyway. You don't get healthy by putting a vial of green shit in water. It's a lifestyle. I knew it was fake. I just thought I'd take the easy way out." And then he just started going, and he was having a seizure because of Athletic Greens. Now, I'm just saying, they can sue me, I'll sue them back. But I'm just saying it's a comedy show. Everything I'm saying is a joke. Of course, obviously, full disclaimer, it did kill my friend. They did drop me. We tried to get them back. I performed at Carnegie Hall. We said, how about you guys come? We'll give you free tickets to my show. We're sorry. Who do you think's taking Athletic Greens? Do you think they're all offended by Alex Jones? Who do you think these people are that drink this? You think they're offended by this? All right, thank you. Thank you. Welcome back, Alex Jones. I was just shitting on an advertiser who dropped me because...
No, you're talking about Athletic Greens.
Yes.
I took Athletic Greens and my dick got 3 feet longer.
No, they dropped me. They dropped me because I said Athletic Greens on the show with you years ago.
No,
so they're terrible.
I got an earpiece in when I ran
Okay, all right.
But back to the incredible thing you just said.
Yes.
Yes, this is a benchmark deciding issue because they killed Epstein, all the cover-ups, people learned about it, and then now Trump made it a big issue, and I'm stating the obvious here. So him saying, don't look at it, don't talk about it, he's not that stupid to do something like that. And so the whole thing makes no sense. It is a disaster. We need change. He's brought in a bunch of good people. It's so sad, but because of integrity issues, I can't sit here and play along with it. And all the evidence points towards Mossad blackmailing Trump. And I just wonder, how we're supposed to get out of this. And I hope he can fix it because, normally a incumbent president that wins the first election, they lose the House and Senate. The numbers, according to the pollsters, we were trending to win. He was getting, record numbers.
Yeah, they'll probably
with everybody.
Well, a lot of the fundraising came from very big donors, people like Miri Madelson and stuff like that have a lot of political connections in Israel, obviously. And I think there's probably pressure from that avenue as well, of people that spent a lot of money to help Trump get elected that are probably telling him, let's make this go away. Let's not have this be an embarrassment or worse.
Yeah.
Video cut out of you there.
Sorry, yeah. Did you hear me? Yeah.
You are back.
Okay. Yeah,
I got most of that. What is that? Is that a devil on your? Is that Hillary Clinton on your?
No, this is a lobster. It's the summer.
Hillary Clinton.
See, that's like a.
It's the summer. It's
like
lobster.
That's like those ink. It's like those ink blots. See, what does that say about me? I don't see a lobster. I see a devil.
It's the summer. So when the lobster's over and it goes to the fall, we put a pumpkin.
I like it.
Yeah, we try to make it nice while we talk about international, sex trafficking, cults, and this, that, and the other thing. By the way, Hollywood stands to probably get very embarrassed if this comes out too, because this is not just political.
Yeah,
There's probably a lot of big people in Hollywood.
Let's talk about who we know is heavily involved.
Yeah,
you had a clear blackmailing operation against high-tech people, science people, vaccines, genetic engineers, Harvard, massive Hollywood. The Clinton, Steve Jobs' wife, the Atlantic Monthly owner, Atlantic Magazine, all those people. And that's my big frustration, is that we know they're all in there. We know it's all going on. And by Trump doing this, he's now joining with them. And he did it in such a terrible way as saying, you're not part of our organization if you question this, which then backs up the left's claim that MAGA is a cult. Well, I'm not in a cult. So how are you processing this? Because I'm not a lesser two evils guy, but overall, Trump administration is a lot better, I think, than Democrats. But at the same time, there's an integrity issue because I become an accomplice by extension,
Okay.
Tim
Agreed.
Dillon.
Now we're going off the rails
by
here a
joining
little
on the
bit.
cover-up.
Agreed. I process it the same way you process it. I think securing the border, having having the American working class regain ground, and trying to provide a standard of living for people and not opening the borders. They've done that in the UK. It's caused tremendous strife. They're now putting people in jail for tweeting about social and cultural issues in that country.
And he's gotten 15 trillion committed, 5 trillion is already flooded in. I mean, he got in this new economic deal, everybody to align here, the Federal Reserve, which is the establishment, won't give him interest cuts. I mean, he is still the maverick. Here's what I know, and I'll give you the inside baseball, and I hate to do this.
Do it.
I started hearing this about a year ago from people really close to Trump. He was 78 then, he's 79 now. And then all the trials, all the pressure, all the demonization, he doesn't crack up, but at a certain point, he becomes a really grumpy old man. And now, I knew this months ago, and I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't want to attack him and give them fodder. But it isn't issues that incriminate him. It's not Epstein stuff. It's not something that can be a problem. They'll bring in some side issue, and he'll scream at them and say, I only want to hear about stopping World War III, bringing jobs back, securing the border, and defeating election fraud. And he gets really mad now. He didn't used to do that. And other people that talked to him, a week and a half ago, saying, "Sir, you got to stop defending this, and you got to stop the Epstein cover-up." And these people he's known for 30 years, 50 years, he'll just say, "Fuck you," then, and hang up on him, or kick him out of the Oval Office. So it's not just that he blew up about this. And it's good to have a guy that doesn't give a crap.
Sure.
At a certain point for fighting corruption. But when he doesn't give a crap about his constituents, we're kind of experiencing, what the establishment's experiencing. So I love him doing that to them, but with us, the optics are really bad.
Who is he listening to? Who is he listening to? People say Stephen Miller and Susie Wiles have the most outsized influence in the administration. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I'm not defending Stephen Miller, but from my sources, he basically has the beat on the border and domestic stuff. It's Susie Wiles. And I hate to demonize her. I'm not trying to come after her. I was warned up front she was bad news. And anybody that wants anything has to go through her.
I
just know her consultancy firm has gone from small to number one. And
Bondi and her are good buddies, very tight. Is that the case?
Well, absolutely. Well, they were at the same consultancy.
Right. Is it weird that they have a huge consultant firm, but they're also both in the White House?
It's a major conflict of interest.
Yeah, seems
sure.
So it's not quite Hunter Biden level stuff or 10% for the big guy. And again, I'm not trying to say they're the only problem. It's just that look, a lot of it is it's complex, it's huge, a lot's going on, and Trump is trying to be pragmatic. But if he thought he could make deals with the deep state and like, sir, the CIA and Mossad are implicated, let's shut this down. They walk into the trap, and now, by the way, that stuff we raided from the Democrats, it's all about you. And it doesn't mean it's real. I already predicted it's recycled. It's recycled BS about Trump. And that's why I think that's why we're seeing the fit.
Do you think there's any part of him that says they'll kill me because they tried to, they maybe tried to in Pennsylvania, where very few people are satisfied with the explanation of who that, would-be assassin was, Thomas Matthew Crooks, or... he had no online footprint. We didn't know that much about him. The media has only recently started to kind of put out a narrative about him, but that was clearly a big brush with death. Do you think that there's any fear in that sense that Trump goes, that the people are playing for keeps?
I mean, I think that's at the end of the day. I mean, I think overall Trump wants success for America.
Yeah.
And he's pragmatically trying to pick the best direction. But there's a new video out that's viral everywhere about, look, on July 13th.
I just saw that, yes.
Yeah, on July 13th, you see the film crew being waved up after he's shot. It shows his production. Well, anybody that's been in a presidential speech of Trump or Obama or any of them, which I've been to, or Bush, W, or any of them, I've been to all those, you have the Secret Service directing press up, directing press back. They tell you when you can be there, when you can't. He gets shot. He falls down. They wave him back. He pops back up. They let the press in. These are TV productions. So people seeing that production and then thinking, oh, it's fake. No, the whole thing is a production. But I know ballistics. I know rifles. They didn't have real people shooting at him, and then they just perfectly grazed his ear. Right. And you can't fake real like that. You can't fake the acoustics of another shooter or a guy getting killed or other people getting shot in the background. I mean, the greatest directors all fused together. Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola.
Anybody, right. Scorsese.
Nobody can do that. Nobody can, carry that out. That was real. His ear got grazed. The Democrats hold up the cartridges in the bullet and go, if something this big hit you. No, it's this big. And when it grazes you, that's exactly what it does. And because, long story short, I got shot with a 22 caliber pellet gun when I was 11. And it hit my ear and bled a lot, but the hole was closing like a day. Just went right through the side. I had the same thing happen. A kid named Mike Hamby shot me. It was an accident. But the point is that my grandmother's ranch, the point is, no, that was real. And all the lawfare and all the indictments and the mug shot and the persecution I've gone through was real. And because of that failing and because of what happened, they're now trying to spin that and make it go away. But people then see, oh, they push the media back. Well, if you go to any debate or presidential deal, they tell the media come forward, they tell them come back. And then once Trump pops back up, they're like, okay, he's okay, you can come back forward, because they're producers, they're filmmakers that run this, that are trying to get iconic shots for videos or put out for Trump. And so if they all see him shot, they get scared and run back. Then he pops back up. It's normal. Okay, they creep back up, bring the cameras back up. You got a bunch of Pulitzer Prize winning photographers there, but they've got to do what the Secret Service says. So people go, oh, that's a production. Well, when Trump goes to the NFL game or the World Cup game, that's a production. Doesn't mean the game didn't play. Doesn't mean it wasn't real. So yeah, it is a production, but it's a production that is of a real event that's happening.
Before you go, what do you think Netanyahu wants? I mean, they bombed Syria today. The Gaza thing's insane. They seem to be hinting that they're not done with Iran. I've heard from people, and there's articles out. I mean, it's just not a secret that I don't think they feel like enough damage was done. They want to do more. What do you think ultimately in Trump's 4 years
Israel
they would like to see? Netanyahu would like to see,
so
like,
probably going to take advantage
what
of it.
would be their goal here? Would it be to reconfigure Gaza in the image of what they would want? I imagine that's on the table. Is it another attack on Iran? What do you think it is?
Well, this I'm an expert on. So how much time do I have?
As much as you want.
Oh, jeez. All right, Benjamin Netanyahu has been in power off and on for 25 years. And previously, he represented the most right-wing, aggressive Israelis. And when Yitzhak Rabin got in their way, it's on record, the group associated with him killed him. And now they've gotten Israel so radical. We can call it right-wing, is what the media calls it. Let's just say Israeli supremacists.
Yeah. Israeli supremacists.
So, I'm not trying to compare it to Hitler, but the closest thing you're going to get is like racial supremacy.
Yeah.
We're taking over.
Yeah, it's ironic for sure.
Yeah, we're the master. Right? Well, look, they're going to drive a group out of their homes into the desert. That's what Pharaoh did to the Jews 3,000 years ago. I mean, it's like the pogroms, that was wrong to the Jews, it's wrong here. Right. I'm not saying the Muslims are little angel cakes are perfect either, believe me.
They're not little angel cakes, but I get it.
Yeah, the optics are not good.
Right.
And so a lot of the Israeli leadership was like, even Michael Savage is American citizen, great guy, pro-Israel, but he came on my show 2 weeks ago and said Netanyahu needs to go. Right. According to all his sources. I mean, they've taken Israel from being one of the most popular countries in the world to the most, did you know Israel in international polls is the most unpopular country in the world?
Yeah, they've had a rough couple of years in terms of their...
So you ask what's going on with Netanyahu. Netanyahu, until 3 years ago on record, you pull up articles, was the main funder of Hamas.
Right.
Israel set up Hamas and funded their creation to discredit the PLO. So if you got one group you don't like, put a new, more radical group in that challenges them, and then people forget about it later and you blow them up next month. Like I said 8 months ago when NATO, Turkey, and Israel on record overthrew Assad after 18 years of trying, or 17 years.
It's crazy. If anything,
I said, I bet in 6 months they're trying to overthrow the new Al-Qaeda leader. Well, Israel's now bombing, trying to take him out. Right. Which is a one-dimensional thing, sounds good. I don't like the leader of Al-Qaeda and ethnically cleansing non-radical Muslims and Christians and Druze and others. But Israel literally ran field hospitals for Al-Qaeda and bombed for them and put them in as a destabilizing force. Just like Netanyahu's predecessors, Likudniks, when they were in power, created Hamas. So then you have October 7th and this stand down, this little armed camp, incredible Israeli intelligence, one of the best militaries on earth. That's not hype. 7.5 hours, nobody responds to Hamas breaking across the fence and grabbing all these Jews.
Right.
I mean, my God, you fart in Israel, they'll shoot a missile up your ass. So, and Netanyahu admitted there was a stand down. The army blamed him. He blamed them. That was a couple years ago. He said, when the war's over, we'll investigate. Well, for Netanyahu, in power 25 years, serious heart problems, indicted, he stays in power by having crises. Right. And so it really comes down to him and his party, and they can't have elections for 5 months under emergency declaration. They can't even have elections because of this emergency. So he stands to gain. The weapons makers stand to gain with billions a week in weapons being spent. Iran's no angel cake. I'm not defending them, but if you go back to Wesley Clark 20-something years ago, he goes to the Pentagon, which is declassified now, and they go, the next 5 years, we're going to take out 7 countries. Iran's the last. Well, they got Syria 8 months ago. The last one is Iran. And it's not just about getting that Gaza Strip.
Right.
Under international law, Israel gets 12 miles out, and they've got one of the biggest gas fields undrilled because of the conflict. I mean, it's more rich than, off the coast of Texas or Louisiana. And so there's trillions of dollars, and they've already built a pipeline up through there that goes up to Turkey. So Turkey is involved. Erdogan acts like he doesn't like Netanyahu. Those guys are they're Siamese twins. They're joined at the hip. And so it's all, and the U.S. is involved, wants to act like it's not because it wants to stop the Belt and Road out of China and all the way through into Russia and Europe. They want this other pipeline they're building up into Europe out of there, and there's gas all the way up from Israel, Lebanon, Syria, all the way. And so Israel wants to build the main industrial shipping hub for shipping liquid natural gas and the pipeline up to Europe. It's got probably more gas than frickin' Alaska. I mean, it's got more gas than Kuwait, more gas than areas there where Russia intersects with Ukraine. This is one of the richest gas fields in the world. Trillions and trillions of pure liquid natural gas and oil. It's near surface, by the way. It's not deep. And so it is a gold mine. So you hear Jared Kushner, I'm going to build condos here. And, these weird AI videos with Trump. It's going to be so beautiful. And Saudi Arabia wants to come in and offers to pay to make it all nice and, give all the Palestinians jobs. That's all a cover. The hotels and the swimming pools and casinos are nothing. It's that hub, because the southern hub, you can say, well, there's natural gas all the way from right there in the Mediterranean up to Syria, but you got to have the hub at the start of it for the pipeline to come up out of Israel. Right. And so this is not even debated. So we're talking, they're saying like $7 trillion in current numbers just off the coast of Gaza. Damn. You add it all up, it's over 20 trillion. You can leverage that. Then you have the military control. Israel has never actually, other than up by Tel Aviv, they've never had a proper port. And so this is about strategic alliances and control and blocking China. So I don't want to just blame Israel and all the Israel.
Yeah, no, for sure. Israel.
It's all about the U.S. acts like Trump. Oh, please do a deal with Gaza. Bomb, 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 bomb the next week. 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Does it again. Oh, please don't hit Gaza, blah, blah, blah. No, the U.S. and its interests are absolutely aligned with Israel.
Well, no,
so in that sense,
I think you're right. what is the end game in the Ukraine? We are still cutting big checks. We're still spending a lot of money. It seems like we're trying to get that country nuked. Hopefully there'll be a deal in place. The vice president said he thought that was a very big possibility, but it seems like the policy of America is to push Putin into a corner until he uses some type of tactical nuclear weapon. I can't see any other end game here.
Yeah, we just keep
as usual,
keep going.
Analysis, just yourself, is accurate. The head of France's finance, the head of their military, the head of Sweden, Germany.
If we hadn't have been given Ukraine all the weapons they've been getting, that war probably would have been done a long time ago. Russia would have went in there, cleared that whole place out.
The UK have all said the last 2 years, you look this up, they said our business plan is a 20 to 30 year conventional war with Russia that will bankrupt Russia. We'll finally break Russia up in 5 parts. Well, that didn't work. Russia's outperforming weapons production, conventional munitions, artillery shells 3-to-1, drones 3-to-1. So that's not working. And so the EU's collapsed financially. It wants this. And you've got, just like Vietnam turned out with McNamara, he later admitted this before he died in the documentary, it was just a big war game and to make money. They wanted a place where they could have won very quickly bombing the North. They could have won, destroying it, but they never did that because it was just a way to pump. LBJ made back then, made $20 billion, $3 billion himself.
Right.
Just off dredging out the ocean and, putting in ports. So it's all a giant war game. And you've had for 15 years, the U.S. and Soros overthrowing governments in Ukraine, stirring it up, poking the Russians.
Yep.
And then they don't care. As long as they can keep it going, they've laundered $300 billion in just the last few years.
Damn,
and it's all a big weapons laboratory. And so to them, they don't care. And now they're talking about 30% of the EU budget now going to Ukraine.
Psychotic.
For the next. So a war is a big black hole that you can launder money through. And at the end of the day, Putin's more popular than ever that he's in a war. It's not like the Iranians and Netanyahu go wink, wink. Right. The mullahs are super unpopular. Now they're popular. Putin was already popular. He's even more popular. Right. And it's not like they go wink, wink, but war is the health of the state. If you go back to the movie on Henry VIII called The King, which is a true story, he finds out at the end that his ministers have a rebellion in England with the Scots and the Irish and the Welsh, which is all a true story. These letters are public now. They've been public for hundreds of years. And his French cousin, they're really all just Norman from William the Conqueror. They're not even French or British. They're all Vikings that conquered France and England.
Damn, that's crazy.
And they don't tell the new young king because his other brother, died, so they had to have him when his dad died. This is a true story. And so he goes and has to have a war with France, and all his buddies die. He wins. And this minister comes to the end and says, you did a really good job. We staged all this. That's why he meets with the king of France. Even though he killed his son, he goes, great job. You're really a real leader. And then he meets with the head minister, and the exchequer head goes, we staged all this for you, sir. Now you've put down all the rebellions. You are now the true king of England. And he kills him, which is a true story. He pulls a dagger out because his best friend died and stabs him to death, learning this whole thing was staged. Real people died. It was a real war, but it was totally staged to put down rebellions in France and in England. And now that's how the real world works.
Psychotic, unfortunate. I hope the Trump administration comes clean. It's the only way forward. People in this country you cannot have the abuse of children go unchecked. You cannot let foreign governments have leverage over our government and influence that,
I can agree
makes
with
us, completely ignore all of our principles. Not to say that we are passive or that we are little angel cakes, as you would say. We're certainly not. But everybody, we need to get all the information out, and I appreciate you. I think you're doing an amazing job, and I love that you still come on my show, and I really appreciate you. And a lot of people do.
I've been begging to come on your show. I wish you'd come to Austin, but let me just have this final point.
Yes.
These Machiavellians think because they think in all this twisted 10D chess that they're smart. No, it's sick. You said it earlier. This big economist, Martin Armstrong, says we're very close to nuclear war. Rand Corporation does. We understand conquest. We understand duplicitous. But with nuclear weapons and with biological weapons and with 9 billion people, we have to stop the conquest economy. We've got to have real peace.
Yeah.
And we keep
Yeah,
hearing
for
about
real.
all this peace, but it's not. It's got to stop because it could get out of control. You ask, will there be nuclear war? Yes, on the threat escalation ladder, it goes from 1 to like 44 in the Rand Corporation. Everybody uses the same model.
Right.
We're at like 35 now.
Right.
A few more. Remember 2 years ago, Biden said we can't give F-16s and Abrams tanks. That's World War III because it goes up the escalation ladder. We're now to Trump met with Zelensky 2 weeks ago and said maybe we'll bomb Moscow so they'll stop.
Oh shit.
You see,
Right.
it just goes and goes and
It
goes.
keeps going.
Dude, if we bomb Moscow, that's gonna start a whole nother level of warfare. That would be nuts. That would be stupid for us to do. That would just be
And the
stupid.
elites would rather destroy the world than sacrifice their positions of power.
Exactly. They've got their bunkers, like Dr. Strangelove's based on a true story when Curtis LeMay and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, L.O. Lemonster, come to the movie came out in 64, made in 63. It's all declassified. And I know Vivian Kubrick and all the inside stuff, but it's films made on it. This is the final thing. Curtis LeMay, the deputy head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, L.O. Lemonster, look this up, folks. They come in the last year of the Eisenhower administration. Supreme Allied Commander, super hardcore, was mad at the Germans and said, well, there's only food for other people. We'll starve 2 million to death. Wasn't like he was a pussy at the end of the war. They come to him and they say, sir, we're going to bomb our own military bases and shoot down our own planes, and we're going to blame the Russians and say the Cubans did it. And we've got a plan to sneak attack Russia, and we think we'll only lose 20 million Americans in their nuclear response, but if we wait a few years under mutually assured destruction, they'll be able to take us out. And he fired them.
Yeah.
And then they tried to come back, and Kennedy fired them. That's Operation Northwoods. The movie Dr. Strangelove was leaked basically to Kubrick, and he made the film to show what happened. They were literally in meetings talking about mine shafts and how we could get gross domestic product up. Even in the worst case scenario, they knocked out most of the population. And they came to Eisenhower, and then they tried again.
The government
Guess
don't
who
give a
the
shit about
adjunct
you.
of
I say
L.L.
that all the
Lemonster
time.
was? He was only like
The
27.
government does not care about
Donald
you.
Rumsfeld.
Wow.
So when you see 9/11 and the Project American Century, it's the same people. And then Dick Cheney, he brought in. So
Right.
This is literally the ghost of L.L. Lemonster and the ghost of Curtis LeMay. The movie Dr. Strangelove is a documentary of what almost happened. The Cuban Missile Crisis, declassified. The U.S. put Nike missiles on the border of Russia in several places, including Turkey, medium-range nukes. Russia put nukes there. I'm not a Russian or been to Russia. The point is that we're all told in school books, oh, the Russians put medium-range nukes in Cuba because they're assholes. No, Khrushchev was on TV saying, get your missiles out. But our media was so controlled, nobody knew we put missiles on their border.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
were
the same
responding to
story.
us.
It's not the average American's bad. It's not that Eisenhower is bad or Kennedy was bad. We have these crazy, power-mad generals, and now what have we done? We put missiles on Russia's border. That's what Russia said a year ago. They said, you already are hitting us every day with medium-range hypersonic missiles. We can't stop. If you hit us 2 or 3 a day, we won't respond. But if we see a large aeronautic attack of hundreds or thousands of missiles, we have to believe it's a nuclear sneak attack because that's how they can shoot. These things go Mach 5, Mach 10. They can take out all the Russian bases. Most of Russia's weapons are in the West. Most of the Russians live in the West. They say if you shoot a bunch of these, we got to go ahead and nuke you because we've got to believe it's a nuclear sneak attack. That's why we're so close. You ask, are we close to nuclear war? The atomic energy, scientist group out of Chicago, the most respected, that looks at, has
100%.
said we are the closest to nuclear war. Remember, you heard 2 minutes to midnight? It used to be 2 minutes to midnight. We're something like 20 seconds to nuclear war now.
Yeah.
So with the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's 2 minutes to midnight means total nuclear war. The last time I checked, we're 20 seconds from midnight. That's your answer. Follow me at Real Alex Jones on X, Infowars.com/show. And I love you, Tim Dillon.
Love you, Alex Jones. Thank you so much.
That
Alex
was good,
Jones,
guys.
everyone. Thank you.
That was good, y'all. Man, I know Alex Jones can say some wild shit sometimes, but a lot of his stuff, some of it does come true, some of it don't, you know? And Tim Dillon, he's just funny as hell. I love how he was going on that advertiser, man. Advertiser dropped him. He was just he was just fucking shitting on him. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, y'all. I'll probably be back here maybe in a little bit, play some PoE 2, maybe some World of Warcraft, who knows. If I don't come back though, I'll definitely be here. Hopefully tomorrow night, sometime between 5 and 8 Eastern. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, y'all.